In the last week alone, I have seen incredible amounts of innovative technology that people are experimenting with for the very first time. It is a crazy time to be alive. So, again, having said this, there's always negatives that I could focus on right now, plenty of them, but I am choosing to focus on these positives. So, what exactly happened this last week? Well, let's start off with Facebook streaming. So Facebook live streaming, I've been observing it for about 2 months now, and it is incredible how technology has taken off. And this is something that you should be excited about because it just shows the potential of what can be done nowadays for business, for person, for influencer. So what it is, what is this Facebook live streaming? It's very simple. Uh, Big Facebook pages, they're currently just rolling it out to the pages who already have a large following, but big Facebook pages are able to live stream straight from Facebook. Now, this isn't new, and I've been seeing people do it for about a couple months now, but in the last week, I've been seeing it incredibly well, and I've seen a lot of thought leaders who are for the very first time using it, and I'm guessing they just got the feature in the last week, and it is blowing my mind because of how crazy it is. So the biggest example is Vin Diesel. You will see a clip of that later in this video, and he has millions of subscribers on Facebook, and you literally can now subscribe to live feeds. And this guy literally got, I think, 100,000 plus people on watching him live stream. And he does this thing like every day and consistently. He just does it impromptu. He doesn't like schedule it out. He doesn't tell everyone, hey, get ready at this time, it'll come out. He just does it impromptu, and boom, the numbers just start rising until 100,000. And now I'm seeing a bunch of other people. Maybe you may not have heard of these people, but they're smaller. They have maybe communities of 100,000 followers on Facebook. But these people have been rolling out their own Facebook live streaming, and it's working really well. They're doing it for the first time, and immediately, I don't know what it is. I think it's just how Facebook is, but boom, we're getting a consistent rate of show up from this for about like 0.5%, which may not seem like a lot, but when you have 100,000 people, that's still a solid 500 people instantly who show up and are ready and willing to watch what you have to do. That's crazy. That's incredible. And I'm seeing it all over the world. A lot of these smaller people are doing this stuff, and some bigger ones are too. I've seen people who've had 1 million plus followers, like Brendan Bashar, do it for the first time. He got 2,000 live streamers on. Marie Folio did it. She got 1,000. And it's just incredible how this works. And then on the flip side of this, what you also see is a lot of craziness in the real live streaming world. So this is the second crazy thing that's happened this week. So first, there's Facebook, and you have Facebook mobile occurring and Periscope occurring. Periscope, it's very much just like Facebook live streams, except it's an app, and that's been blowing up recently. As far as that goes, it also works really well because it's connected straight to Twitter, and it immediately notifies Twitter followers as well as its Periscope followers. And for certain people, it's doing incredibly well. So there's that going on too. That's been going on for about half a year now, and it's really, really doing well. A lot of people are killing on it. Other people are not. Personally, I think unless you have a decent sized following now and you have that free time, and one of your main focuses is live streaming or selling stuff off live events, I mean, it's going to be a time drain. So you have to decide whether or not to spend your time with it. But I'm seeing incredible stuff with that. And then the third thing I see that is just even more incredible is what recently happened this week on Twitch. So for the last 2 years now, I've been observing Twitch, and I would say the biggest amount of concurrent live streamers that have been on Twitch is maybe 2 or 3 million. 1 or 2 million is pretty average, and that's usually, it only happens once or twice a year when the League of Legends Gaming World Championship takes place. But that still blows my mind. The competitive coverage for that is 2 million people. Now that it's still not as big as other events like the World Cup, but that is still incredible to see that amount of people come together online for a specific event. But this last week, what occurred was a man who was just playing the piano impromptu. This guy was in his 60s. He put up a post on Reddit about who he was and that he's live streaming. That shot up to the front page of Reddit, and it got him up to 60,000 live streamers on there. And what Twitch does really well, and what YouTube doesn't, is that Twitch allows for PayPal automatic donations. So he got all these donations coming in immediately because he's a very friendly, lovable guy who's doing crazy stuff on the piano. And it was just incredible because he was taking any song request, and he would get all these gamer songs that he had never heard before but could instantly play like that. And it was just incredible to see the love and the generosity, and how happy he felt when he saw those donations come in. And it's just incredible the system Twitch has now, where you can, where comments can come in and shout out stuff, and then the moderation thing for the chat and all the messages that come up. I'm not going to say it's perfect. There's a lot of toxic people in there, but moderation helps with that. The shout out function, again, I mean, if you're paying for it, it's a tough thing. You're going to have to allow toxic comments, but I find that incredibly interesting to see that dynamic. And I think one of the reasons why YouTube's donation feature doesn't work, most people don't even know there's a donation feature on YouTube. It's because no one uses Google Wallet. And it's so obvious, and I think, you know, if I were to tell YouTube that straight up, they would just not fix it because they're too loyal to Google, even though they don't see the trend. It's like the Zune versus the iPod. You gotta not be so loyal to things when you see the trend. It's like Bing versus Google. So I would say, you know, YouTube, you need to get PayPal donations or some other form of donating. Anyhow, moving on from that, the last big thing I saw in the last week were two people who did their very first live streams on a very large audience in a very new way. It was impromptu and it was huge. Both of them got over 2,000 live viewers, and they've both done tons of live streams before, but this one was different. These are different because these were educational live streams. These weren't gamer or entertainment live streams that happen all the time. These were both educational and informative live streams for education-based bloggers and thought leaders. One was Brendon Burchard, the second was Ramit Sethi. They both did their first hour-long live stream event using Ustream. Now, why do they use Ustream instead? Because they have a large amount of followers that they want to stream live to, and the second thing is that they want the highest of definitions. So when you look at all the different platforms out there, YouTube, which allows live streaming, Twitch, which allows live streaming, what else? There's Google Hangouts, live streaming and webinars, GoToWebinar, and a bunch of others. Ustream works the best because it has the highest level of definition on the screen. So it's incredible to see all this take place together. You have these people coming in and doing their very first informative, educational, ultra high definition live streaming off Ustream. And again, there's so many others I didn't mention that aren't that great in my opinion, like YouNow.com. But you have all these different elements going on, and it's incredible to see all these people doing things for the very first time because of all the new stuff coming out. And again, I mean, you see from all these different platforms, Facebook live streaming with Vin Diesel playing around, having a lot of fun on his Facebook page, to the people on Ustream, to the people on Twitch who are now showing that Twitch does not necessarily have to be a purely gaming avenue, which kind of has been hinted at time and time again over the last few years, because again, occasionally, very occasionally, something that's very far from gaming pops up on Twitch, like what happened the other day. And this stuff is constantly happening. So for the average person, they could be very overwhelmed by all this stuff. And quite frankly, I do think a lot of this stuff it may distract or confuse a lot of people. In fact, a lot of people who are middle-aged or older, because they have a business background or whatever else, they're confused about social media and all this stuff, and they're chasing Snapchat and all this stuff, and it's overwhelming. Personally, I would say just focus on one thing and kill it on there. A lot of that other stuff are just distractions, and you see a ton of people who are spread way too thin. They have like 15 different platforms, half of which will not take off, half of which who suck. And then, I mean, from personal experience, I've had all that. I've been in that situation where I've had all these different platforms and it was just too much. And then I had to roll back from having a Vine and Instagram to going back to just one to build. So that's the basic message. I'm going to conclude this video with a little bit of a live screen recording of Vin Diesel doing one of his impromptu Facebook live streaming events. And if you just look at it, it's just incredible. The point is, again, not to be inundated or distracted by all these different platforms, because guess what? You can't focus and build when you have too many things. So just focus on one, and that one is probably the one that you already have your ideal audience on. Where is your ideal audience? Find them and go there, because you're not going to get anywhere just chasing a million different things. I know you want that first mover advantage, but that's usually a myth, and it's much harder said than done. A lot of things have to align: the talent, the skill, the fact that the platform will really take off. And based off my experience, I've seen tons of platforms that have risen and then fallen, where celebrities have gotten on, hundreds of thousands of users have gotten on, it's risen and then it's died out. Apps that you've never heard of: Mindy, Shots, Yik Yak, Beam. But thanks for watching. Take a look at this.